I used to think effort had a straight line reward system. You work hard, you get the title, you push yourself, you get the recognition, you stay consistent, the world notices. Simple, until it wasn't. It all started with small things first. A test score that was almost perfect. A performance task where everything felt right, but still came back missing a couple of points. The kind of loss that doesn't look dramatic on paper, but feels heavy in your chest because you know how close it was. 2 points. That's what it came down to. Not a failure, not a collapse, just 2 invisible marks separating almost from enough. And suddenly, the title I had been working toward didn't feel like a destination anymore. It felt like a spotlight I was slowly being pushed out of. What made it worse wasn't even the points. It was the feeling of being watched. Like there was an audience to everything I did. Every quiz, every output, every attempt to catch up. People quietly adjusting their expectations of me. Some rooting, some doubting, some already deciding the ending before I even got there. And I started hearing things that weren't even said out loud. She was close, but maybe she's not the one this time. That's not enough. Or worse, the silence. The kind that feels like people already moved on from your story. That's when I started thinking, maybe the world really does go against you when you want something too much. Like no matter how hard you try, there's always a gap, always a just a little more that never stops moving. So I did something dangerous. I started believing I was already behind. And once you believe that, everything feels heavier. You stop trying to improve. You start trying to not to embarrass yourself. You stop aiming for the top. You start bracing for disappointment. But the strange thing about pressure is this. It doesn't always mean you're failing. Sometimes it just means you're close enough for it to hurt. And people forget that being almost there still means you were there. Not everyone sees the nights you studied when you didn't want to. Not everyone counts the points you didn't lose. Not everyone understands how 2 points can feel like a wall when you were aiming for a crown. But here's what I learned in the middle of that noise. That audience, that feeling of being judged mid-story. The audience is not the judge. They are just watching a version of your life they don't fully understand. And losing hope doesn't mean the story is over. It just means you paused at the hardest scene and started believing it was the ending. I didn't suddenly become valedictorian in some perfect twist. But I stopped letting 2 points decide my entire identity. In reality, it was just 1 point. But it still hurts. Because if I let every small loss define me, I would forget how many times I already proved I could rise back up. And maybe the real ending isn't about whether the world went against you or whether the world likes you or is in favor of you or supports your dreams and goals. It's about whether you kept walking forward, even when it felt like they were watching you fall. Because if they're praying for you to fail, then let them suffocate with your success.